Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Wrap-Up here at Daft As Puck on Wednesday the 17th. Is it the 17th? I think it is. Let me have a look. Yes, it is. 17th of November. Blimey O'Reilly, we're not that far away from Christmas now, are we? I saw a bloke in the supermarket at the weekend. He had bought up, I think there were 10 boxes, 10 tubs of Cadbury's Heroes. So that was his Christmas shopping done for the year. They're all on offer at the moment, aren't they? So yes, Christmas is a-coming, but it's Christmas every day at the moment in the NHL because there is plenty of hockey to enjoy, and I am certainly enjoying it. I'm sure you all are too. My name is Matt. I run Daft As Puck, a new channel I've put together for this season just to talk about hockey really and talk about various things. My camera's a bit low, hang on. There we go, that's a bit better. So we're talking all about NHL, and the Wednesday Wrap-Up is one of 3 live shows we do. The Wednesday Wrap-Up, I have a look at all 32 teams and pick out something about each one, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's funny, whether it's sad. There will be something about every team. We are Daft As Puck on Twitter, and here obviously on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you can join in on the chat. We have 2 other shows over the week. One Oiled, all about my Edmonton Oilers, is on Friday at 9 p.m. UK time, and Sunday Hockey Breakfast 9 a.m. UK time. And don't forget the website, of course, don't forget the website, daftaspuck.uk, where we do various other things, blogs and all sorts. So there we go. So, hope you are doing well, and yes, I am a little bit down, I guess. I watched the Oilers game against the Jets. So we'll come to that at some point tonight. In fact, I may deal with it fairly early on. But yes, a disappointing loss once again to the Jets for the Oil. And I've got a bit of a cold. It's not COVID, thankfully, but a bit sniffly. So apologies for that. But I will, get through it all. I am braving the elements, braving all of the things being thrown at me. I have a cup of tea, which is desperately needed, and I did wonder, should I get into doing this tonight, but I've done my notes, so I am cracking on. I am nothing if not a public servant to you all, and we shall be getting going and looking at all 4 divisions and every team along the way. So if you are watching live, you can join in on the chat via YouTube chat, and I can have a look. If you're watching on repeat, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, so you are notified, and click the bell thing so you are notified when we go live each time. So here we go. Now, usually the last couple of times I've started in the Eastern Conference, so I am going to start in the Western Conference, and there's only one place to start with all of the news this week, and that is the wonderful Western Pacific. Now, normally that would be the Oilers, but again, not too much good news about the Oilers, so we are looking elsewhere. And of course, it is about those Mighty Ducks, who aren't Mighty Ducks anymore, but the way they are playing, you would think they are. Here we go in the Western Pacific. Yes, starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. And I've put in my notes, Ducks in Dreamland. So this is from NHL.com. The simple way to put it: Ryan Getzlaf hit 1,000 points. Troy Terry extended his point streak to 15 games. Trevor Seagrass scored the overtime winner as the Ducks won a 1,000th game in franchise history. This is from last night, defeating the Washington Capitals 3-2 at Honda Center. Anaheim owns the NHL's longest winning streak of 8 games and the longest point streak of 8-2. But you may remember, if you saw Sunday Hockey Breakfast on Sunday, that I predicted that the Ducks would make it to 8 wins, but then lose the next one. So you may be in line for the Lost Ducks, but if you are, you've had an incredible run, and we shall see if my ideas came through, or if my ice maybe prediction was right or wrong. Check out, I think they next play on Thursday, I think, so we shall see. Next team up is the Calgary Flames, and not too much to talk about there, really. Obviously, yes, I'm an Oilers fan, don't hold that against me Flames fans. I put no-go Johnny Gaudreau. So the Flames lost in overtime in Philadelphia last night, and the notes on NHL.com noted that he grew up in New Jersey, had lots of families and friends in attendance, so he just basically started shooting for the hills everywhere he went. 10 shots during the game, that is the most he has ever had in a single game. Was setting up opportunities all night for his teammates apparently, but not quite enough to win the game, so they dropped the game to the Flyers. Edmonton Oilers up next now. I'm just passing over that. Tough loss last night. We need to get back on the horse on Thursday. Yes, let's just park that. Check out the well-oiled on a Friday night to see hopefully the Oil have won a game against the Jets when I get there on Friday. But next up, the LA Kings. And, well, time for another streak is what I've put here for the Kings. They took a 3-2 overtime loss to those Winnipeg Jets on Saturday, which ended their wonderful winning streak at 7. So a really incredible comeback for the Kings, because they started off in shaky fashion, really were struggling to get going, suffered several key injuries, but 7 wins on a spin has really helped them out. They face the Capitals tonight at home, so they will be trying to get another winning streak started. As for the San Jose Sharks, I don't know why I've put the Kraken before San Jose in my logos. I will have to, I do know the alphabet, I will have to amend that. But yes, San Jose Sharks, I've focused on Timo Meyer, who got goal and assist last night in a 4-1 win over the Minnesota Wild. He has scored 14 points according to NHL.com, 6 goals and 8 assists in 10 games this season. Apparently only 2 other players in Sharks history have done that in their first 10 games of a season. Owen Nolan scored 17 in 99-2000, and Joe 14 scored 16 in 05-06, 15 in 2010-11, and 15 also in 09-10. So that is some elite Sharks company for Timo. So well done to him. And moving on in alphabetical order to the Seattle Kraken. Same old story for Seattle, unfortunately, everybody. Seattle Kraken lost 4-2 against Minnesota Wild on Saturday. Wild, I was livid. That put them on a 4-10-1 record. Tough times in Seattle. They are hosting Chicago tonight, so the Kraken are hoping to cut down their 4-game losing streak, and the coach was calling on the Seattle fans who've been so behind the team, and I'm sure they will be all season long, whatever happens in terms of the scores and standings, wanting the team to respond to the home crowd and get a good first period under their belt, get ahead in the game and work from there. Let's see if they can do it. Next up, another team who are on the skids are the Vancouver Canucks. And apparently on Tuesday, the owner, the owner was about, or the ownership group were about, talking to Jim Benning, the GM, wanting to discuss how the Vancouver Canucks early season seemed to be going so badly. They wanted to discuss how the group can be better, which is nice, isn't it? Doesn't look like Benning is for the chop anytime soon, but there is definitely dissension in the ranks among the Canucks, and yes, questions to be answered whether they can turn it round or is drastic action needed. We shall see. And finally, the Golden Knights. A bit of bad news for them. Jonathan Marchessault has entered the COVID protocols. The club announced this on Tuesday, out of the lineup yesterday against the Carolina Hurricanes. William Carrier was placed in the protocols on Monday, so that's a couple. And of course, there are various other people out. A whole bunch of people out, in fact, but they do have Mark Stone returning. So I'm not sure if he played last night, I can't remember, but yes, at least starting to get some of their players back. Desperately needed. They've been holding pretty steady considering those injuries, but clearly a lot of talent out at the moment for the Golden Knights, the old shiny helmets, and they will be glad to get a few of those guys back. So yeah, it's been incredible to see how the Ducks have really surged forward, flying at the moment. And let's see how long they can keep that streak going. I said it would end at 8. They're at 8 now. Let's see what they can do. Moving on to the Western Central. And oh yes, it is the Arizona Coyotes. Wonderful. Stop hating on the Coyotes. I've put in my notes. Barrett Hayton scored twice for the Coyotes last night to help them beat St. Louis 3-2, knocking down the Blues. It's the first multi-goal game of Barrett Hayton's career, I think. Either that or the season, one of the two. Anyway, first multi-goal game. Put it there. And it is the win number 2 on the season for the Coyotes. So woohoo for the Coyotes. They are 2 wins on the season. Yes, good for them. Next up, the Chicago Blackhawks. They have 3 wins in a row. Imagine that, Coyotes. Yes, wouldn't that be lovely? They face the Kraken tonight in Seattle. As I mentioned, it's the first time they will be facing a team. The NHL.com had a good little note here about Alex DeBrincat. He scored a goal on Friday to extend his point streak to 3 games. It was his 127th career goal, passing Patrick Kane for 5th on the Blackhawks all-time goals list of players prior to their 24th birthday, which is clearly an illustrious, well-known, epoch-defining list of Blackhawks players how many goals they scored before the 24th birthday. DeBrincat's 127 goals, shared 10th among all NHL players since he debuted at the beginning of the 17-18 campaign. Apparently the goal total is also second most among players drafted in 2016, trailing only the man Austin Matthews, who has 165. Maybe 166 after last night, actually, because I know he scored. But yes, good company to be in for Alex DeBrincat, and a little bit of history for him, much as I may take the mick. Lots of good news for the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know why I always struggle with that name. JT Compher, he's going to be ruled out for a good month or so with an upper body injury, and that's a blow for them in particular because he has stepped up to the top line as centre with Nathan McKinnon being out. So McKinnon's out and now Compher is out, and it's been a bit of a shaky start for Colorado. Nothing disastrous, but not quite what they'd want, and this is another blow that they really didn't need. As for the Dallas Stars, wow, 2 5-2 wins in a row for the Dallas Stars. Yeah, incredible. When you think that this is a team that has really struggled in front of net all season long so far, 2 5-2 wins in a row. Good stuff for them, so well done, Dallas. Next up, the Minnesota Wild. Frustrated they were to be outplayed by the Sharks at home last night. Having come into it, they'd won 5 out of 6 before that game. And there was an interesting quote from Dean Everson, their coach, saying, "We lose 4-1. There's not a lot of guys that played well. You could go right through the roster, obviously, and you could pick and choose. But on a whole, we did not have a good night." I think that's a fair summary, based on the highlights I saw at least, and various comments on Twitter by Wild fans who, yeah, it was an off night. Let's put it like that. They've been playing well of late, so yeah, just chalk it down as a bad night and get back playing some good hockey again next time out. Then we have the Nashville Predators. They were on a 3-game winning streak, but unfortunately for them, that was ended by Toronto last night. It was the first time this season that they'd been shut out. They lost the game 3-0. And the one disappointing thing for that in terms of timing is that you normally would love to get back on a horse, get right back out there, put it right, get a win on the board, get a few goals in, but they can't because they were due to play Ottawa next. Now, we will come to Ottawa at some point, of course, but you will know all about the Ottawa Senators having 10 players in COVID protocol and having their games cancelled. So the game in Ottawa on Thursday has been cancelled, and it was particularly a blow to Mark Borowiecki, I think that's how I pronounce it, who is originally from Ottawa, played for the Senators previously, and he said, "I don't think my mum was really happy. She had a big lasagna planned for me, and I was going to go over there for dinner. But there's always the pros and cons." Yes, yes. The big lasagna has been put on hold. Give it to Garfield. Yes, so a bit of a blow for him, but there we go. These things happen, and unfortunately, it's a curious from the Senators. Like I say, we'll come to it, but how that all played out, yeah, madness. Anyway. And may have implications, of course. Already people talking about the period that is meant to be for the players to go and play in the Olympics, and the NHL seemingly being desperate to take any excuse they can to try and get out of allowing that. And if we have too many more cancellations, then that obviously will play into the hands of trying to make those games up. But yes, we shall come to that. Next up are the St. Louis Blues. They lost a heartbreaker against Edmonton on Sunday. Although I enjoyed it, I will say. And they then lost to Arizona last night. So, yeah, that definitely counts as a bad few days for the Blues. Can only get better, I guess, as D-Ream once sang. And finally, the Winnipeg Jets. I really would like to just skirt all over them. I'd like to forget they exist, but they do exist, and you have to say right now that they have the Oil's number. A 5-2 win over Edmonton last night. They were 4-0 up after the second period, and although Edmonton were able to come back into it, 5-2 in the end, and of course that all comes on the back of the 4-0 sweep of the Oil in the first round of the playoffs last year. Next up, Edmonton. They're in Edmonton on Thursday for round 2. A home and home, apparently, is what it's called. So yes, desperately hoping that a trip to Rogers Place is bad news for the Jets. We need the Oil to get stepping up. And if we do, you'll hear about it on Well Oiled on a Friday night. I hope they do. But there we go. Yes, let's have a little look if I can. If I press the right buttons. I probably should have set this up previously. Yeah. If you're a regular, you know it's not always the slickest of productions. I try my best. But here we go. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, I know what I can do. Here we go. This will be good. Oh, yeah, that will work. That'll work. Okay, so I was going to have a quick look at the standings, which I think I should be able to do. Oh yes, beautifully done. So NHL.com, of course, let's bring that there, never mind the adverts. So in the Western Central, Winnipeg are out in front and going great guns. 21 points on the board at 9-3-3, with the Wild close behind on 20. Again, I mentioned earlier, Colorado 6-5-1. Really not the start they wanted, but still very much in it and very much early days. And they've only played 12 games too, so plenty of time for them to turn that round. And Chicago and Arizona. Chicago have put a little gap of 5 points between them and the Coyotes, but the Coyotes, of course, are trying to catch them and avoid being 8th. But minus 36 already in the goal difference column is not good for those Coyotes. As for the Pacific, of course, the Ducks are on a charge and they have stormed past the Edmonton Oilers, although they're 1 point ahead with 2 games extra played. So don't you worry, the Oil are a-coming. But yes, 10-4-3, excellent performances recently by the Anaheim Ducks. Edmonton's still there, as are the Flames, so those two teams are still in a good position, just like the Kings, who've just had their 7-game winning streak ended. But yes, very good for them. And unfortunately, down the bottom, whilst Vancouver are lots of internal discussions as to why they are doing so poorly. Seattle down there on 9 points, 4-10-1. Let's see if they can get win number 5 on the season tonight against Chicago. There we go. So that is the Western Conference done. We shall have a short little interlude, and then we shall have a look at the Eastern. So yes, the Eastern Conference is where we are heading next, and if I click the right button and do that, we shall go to the Eastern Metro. That's where we'll start, yes. So we start with the Carolina Hurricanes, and they are hitting the road, ladies and gentlemen. They are starting a 6-game road trip. Well, they started that last night against Vegas, and they won it 4-2. So that's a good start for the Canes. They have 42 shots during that game. So really we're taking it to the shiny helmets and came out well. So we'll see how they go the rest of that road trip. Next up, Pontin's favourite team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. And there's an interesting little note, a good article actually by Jeff, I think it's from Svoboda on NHL.com, all about Oliver Borkstrand. Who is known as Le Maestro. That is his nickname, the Danish forward. He notes that there's something else people might want to start calling Borkstrand, the most underrated player in the NHL. Svoboda goes on and says, the winger already has made some Blue Jackets history in the early going, with 13 points on 5 goals and 8 assists. He has more points through the first 10 games than anyone in franchise history, not named Rick Nash or Antti Panarin. So that's good company to keep among the Blue Jackets history. So yeah, there we go. Keep an eye out for the Danish forward Oliver Borkstrand, who is flying up the standings and really turning some heads this season. And from a Danish star to a Swede, and that comes to the New Jersey Devils. Their game yesterday against Ottawa was cancelled, so they now head out to Florida to face both the Panthers and the Lightning, and it should be an exciting trip for Fabian Zetterlund. The Swede, who was picked third in the third round of the 2017 NHL draft, is expected to make his NHL debut in one of those games. He's been called up, was being interviewed the other day. I assume it was yesterday. He was being interviewed. I saw a little clip of it, and yes, the coach is saying that he should be involved in one of those 2 games. So good for him, another Swede in the NHL. Good for him, not so good for the world of the New York Islanders. Although maybe finally things are going to change. Their 13-game road trip to start the season is finally over. It ended in dismal style. 4 games lost in a row to end it. And yesterday's loss was a 6-1 loss to Florida. It looks pretty abject from the highlights. There were no highlights really for the Islanders. What I could see, very much a low-light selection for them. They can only hope that the grand opening of UBS Arena will get them going, and that finally takes place on Saturday night against the Calgary Flames. And of course, as an Oilers fan, I am right behind you, Islanders, in tucking up those Flames. And giving you a good home opening for UBS Arena, because the way the Islanders are playing right now, you need some luck from somewhere. Talking about luck that is needed, poor old I was going to put on a New York accent. That would be a bad idea. New York Rangers. Let's just say it in a nice English accent. New York Rangers. Bad luck for them. Sammy Blais is out for the season. He has torn the ACL in his right knee. A big blow for them. Yeah, and a big blow for him. That's it's a difficult injury to come back from, especially for a hockey player. And just wish him the best of luck. His season is done. Doesn't look like, even if they get to the playoffs, that's kind of ruled out. It's really looking ahead to next season already. Such a big blow. It's everyone's so excited about finally having an 82-game season again, and his season is over pretty quick, unfortunately for him. So best of luck with his recovery. As for the Philadelphia Flyers, Cam Can is what I've put in my notes. An overtime win against the Flames last night. Good job. Carter Hart and Jacob Markstrom had a goalie duel, I would say. So Carter Hart saved 33 of 34 shots in regulation time. Markstrom saved 40 of 41. So it was 1-1 at the end of regulation, and then Cam Atkinson scored in overtime with the Flyers' first shot in overtime to win it. Good job, Cam. Well done, Flyers. Now, next up is the Pittsburgh Penguins, and some interesting off-ice news there. The Wall Street Journal are reporting that the Penguins are going to be bought by another corporation, and that corporation is well known to many sports fans. It is the Fenway Sports Group, FSG, who own Liverpool FC, own Boston Red Sox, and various other places. According to Forbes, the Penguins are the 11th most valuable franchise in the league, at an estimated value of $650 million. No word quite on what sort of dollar value is being exchanged in this deal, but Wall Street Journal are saying that it could all go through as soon as sometime this week. So let's see what that means for the Penguins and how that may affect how they are run in the years ahead. And finally, the Washington Capitals, 1 point earned is what I've put in my notes. Lost in overtime against the Red Hot Ducks last night, but it did come from behind twice to get there, and it ends their winning streak at 4, but at least they got a point. So a 5-game streak of at least getting a point for them. And then we come to the final division, which is the Eastern Atlantic, and that, of course, holds the plague team who we will come to last, actually. Let's start off with the Boston Bruins. A couple of Charlies I've put in my notes. Charlie McAvoy and Charlie Coyle both scored twice as the Bruins beat the Canadiens 5-2 on Sunday. And McAvoy was subsequently named as the NHL Second Star of the Week. So well done to you, mate. Second Star of the Week. Seems a bit of a damning with faint praise, that one, but Second Star of the Week. Good for you. Buffalo Sabres. I love this story. You know, there's always, it can be a bit tricky trying to find a good, feel-good, positive story about the Buffalo Sabres right now, but there is one that is wonderful. Going to the Dogs is what I've put. Rick, the Buffalo Sabres' first ever team dog, was announced to the public yesterday. He is an 8-month-old, or believed to be 8-month-old Newfoundland rescue dog. He is being trained to be a service dog for a local veteran, and the Buffalo Sabres Foundation is sponsoring his training. So he is going to be the first team dog in history. I looked on their roster, couldn't see him noted there as yet, but I'm sure he will be there. And yes, go on, Rick. Looks a lovely little thing. Or, well, it's not going to be little for very long, is he? So yes, there we go. At least you haven't got Jack Eichel, you haven't got a winning team, and by the looks of it, you've not got many people in the seats, not least because of the issues in the Canadian border, or not issues really, but the normal flood of fans who cross the border to go to Buffalo games, or games at Buffalo. It's not really there at the moment, but you do have a dog called Rick. That's something, at least. Detroit Red Wings, no fans of Dallas. I've put here the Red Wings lost 5-2 to Detroit last night, and that is their 9th consecutive loss at American Airlines Center. So they need to change something up, maybe stay in a different hotel, go a different way to the arena, I don't know. But they need to find a way to turn that around, because there is a hoodoo on them in Dallas. No hoodoo for the Florida Panthers. Home sweet home. I've put here the Panthers had hit a slight rough patch with 4 games lost in a row, but they returned home last night and got themselves a lovely 6-1 win against the Islanders. Yes, the Islanders are a bit hopeless right now, but still, 6-1 win is a 6-1 win. There was a bit of big bad news during all of this, however, and that is their captain and leading scorer, Alexander Barkov, left the game with a knee injury. Scott Mayfield did get a major penalty. I'm not sure how dirty it was, but it looked nasty at the very least, and he was down for a couple of minutes. It's been announced just about a couple of hours ago, in fact, that, well, take it whichever way you like, really. He won't require surgery, which is good news, of course, but it is being listed as week to week, so this is not going to be a short-term job. No exact timetable yet. He's going to have to keep being monitored, but looks like Barkov could be out for a while, and that is a big blow for the Panthers. Meanwhile, the Montreal Canadiens, I've put 2 steps forward, several steps back. Yes, they saw, I forget how you pronounce it, Jonathan Drouin. He came back after 6 games out with an injury, so he was back, and Caden Primo, the goalie, put in a solid showing on his first NHL game of the season yesterday, but they still lost 3-2 to the New York Rangers. So even when they have some positive stuff coming through, the Canadiens can't catch a break. And yes, difficult times in Montreal. We will skip past Ottawa just for now and go to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are 6-2 in their last 8 games. Their latest victory came at the expense of, guess who? The Islanders. That was on Monday, where they won 4-1. Pat Maroon dropped his gloves against Zdeno Chara, the legendary fighter that is Chara, on the opening face-off. It was like, you know what? I'm going to come after you, set the tone right from the off, gloves off, let's have some. And it seemed to work for the Lightning, 4-1, and really good form of late. They were a little bit, I was going to say shaky, that's probably unfair, isn't it? A little bit sleepy maybe coming out of the gate after their couple of Stanley Cup successes, but they are certainly firing on all cylinders, and as per usual, Vasilevsky is playing extremely well. They are defending really well, really struggling, or teams are really struggling to get goals against them, so very much the opposite to what the Oilers are doing at the minute. We're winning games but conceding plenty, but the Lightning are really tightening up at the back, and that makes them very, very dangerous. And talk about a team that is dangerous, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have won 4 wins in a row, and they have made a nice little signing, which some Maple Leaf fans seemed quite excited about. Most other people seemed quite bemused as to why some fans were excited about. It is Kyle Clifford, Cliffy as he is known. He has rejoined the Leafs for a second stint with the team. And it's one of those interesting transaction things. He was with the St. Louis Blues. I think it's his final year in a $1 million contract for this season. And they put him on waivers. He cleared waivers, so they then sent him down to the minors, which then meant that Toronto could claim him or trade for him, and they can put him straight into the minors without there being any other moves they need to make, which is nice for them. He's gone to the Marlies, as they are known in the AHL, so he is there. They can store him there for a little while and bring him up to be on the fourth line or something like that if needed. And St. Louis get to take his $1 million salary off their payroll. So good news all round for them. Well done, Cliffy. Good for you. And finally, bad for Ottawa Senators. Yes, what an absolute mess this lot is. The Ottawa Senators have had the next 3 games postponed because of a whole bunch of players in the COVID protocol. 10 players in the protocol, and the way it all worked out, I mean, it was ridiculous. They started having people going in. So I think the first one was, let me have a look through the notes. Something like November the 6th, wasn't it? Yes, so Watson got put in a COVID protocol. Austin Watson got put in the protocols on November 6th. They haven't practiced since November 5th because of COVID issues, and people just keep going down and down. And I think it was Batherson, wasn't it, who, yes, here we go. He initially tested positive on November 13th. He then got 2 negative tests, so they allowed him to be in the lineup. Scored 4 points in a win against the Penguins, and then he was placed into the protocol the next day. Something's not right there, is it? And this is a real issue, because this is really... Look, there have been other teams that have had plenty of players going down. So we've had, like, the San Jose Sharks lost 7 players, didn't they? But it didn't look like many of them actually had COVID. It was just some issues there. But yes, so this is a big issue. This seems like... Well, I don't... Should I say it? Yeah, I'm going to say it. No one cares. It seems like mismanagement to me. It seems like an outbreak that started and they've allowed it to flourish. Now, that may be harsh on them, because we know that in some of these cases they haven't really displayed any symptoms or only very mild symptoms. So maybe it's more about the way that the COVID is working, and especially if you've had the vaccine, and that maybe it all started at the start, but it's just taken a while for some of these guys to start developing symptoms or actually showing up as having COVID. I don't know, but it does seem weird. And yeah, you can't help but look at what's going on with Ottawa and think, have they really followed things properly in the way they've been acting? We shall see. I'm sure that will be looked into. But like I say, there is this side story, which is that the NHL owners anyway, clearly don't want the players to go to, where it is it Beijing, the Olympics, I think, for the Winter Olympics, for the hockey, and the players all desperately want to go, but you do get the feeling that the NHL are kind of keen to find reasons for them not to go, and having lots of games suspended, postponed, and having to catch them up is certainly something that will do it. So the next 3 games, or the 3 games coming up for the Senators, have been postponed so far, just because there are so many guys who have had to go down that it's just not possible to play, really. But whether they're going to be fit and ready to go, I think the next game they've got on the schedule that is due to go ahead against Colorado, but we'll see whether that goes ahead. Yeah, difficult times in Ottawa, and difficult times for the NHL, because that is an issue. When so many people have gone down with it, does suggest that things maybe haven't been followed as well as they could have been, and it does suggest that yes, there could be further issues down the line which could compromise the NHL players going to the Olympics. But fingers crossed that doesn't happen, because I love the Olympics, I love the hockey in the Olympics, and it would be a real shame for it not to happen again. But let's see. Anyway, there we go. Latives, all 32 teams covered. I know I covered the Oilers pretty swiftly because they lost, but well oiled as you can see, well on a Friday night. I shall be covering all the Oilers news in that one. I did do a quick little impromptu live stream yesterday ahead of the game against the Jets, although that didn't bring me much luck, so I won't be trying that again. But let's go back to the standings if we can. There we go. So let's go to the Eastern Metropolitan. Carolina out in front with 24 points, although closely followed by the Caps and the Rangers, both on 23. So they've had all three have had very good starts to the season. Carolina played 2 games less than them, so going very well as expected, to be honest. The Islanders, dearie me, we knew it would be tough for them to start with 13 games on the road, but they now have a lot of home games coming up, or they will do over the next couple of months. But boy, do they need to take advantage of that, because yes, they are in a bit of a mess at the minute, and although they've got 12 points, they've won 5 games, so it's not a disaster as yet. Yeah, they need to take advantage of those home games, don't they? The Penguins still trying to get some players back. Crosby is back now, but a few issues there in Pittsburgh, and the whole ownership shouldn't affect the team on the ice, you wouldn't think, but another thing to throw into the mix. And then we go to the Atlantic. So Florida 11-2-3 with 25 points, and Toronto are really flying at the moment. They're on 23. Tampa Bay coming up the rails, as I mentioned. They've really recovered from a bit of a stop-start beginning to the season, and are now kicking on brilliantly. But teams that aren't are the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators. So both struggling on 4 wins so far. The Canadiens have played 18 games as well, so that's not good. 4 wins out of 18. Ottawa, well, I guess at least they can't be racking up some more losses over the next few days if they're not playing. But tough times for Ottawa, and you can't see much good happening there in the interim period, with probably some more COVID stuff to come. And yeah, it's a young team, and they've shown good signs actually. Batherson, Kachuk and various others have certainly showed up this season so far. But yeah, COVID is the last thing they needed, and exactly what they have got. So there we go. That is the Wednesday wrap-up here on Wednesday 17th of November. Lots to catch up on, and there are some games tonight. I think there are only 4. Let me have a quick look. I can't remember. There are only 3 in fact. So Colorado at Vancouver, Chicago at Seattle, and Washington at LA Kings. That is their schedule for tonight. So 3 games to watch, and I'll definitely catch up on the highlights on those early tomorrow morning before work. That is the life of a UK hockey fan, catching up when you can. Don't forget, we've got Well Old on Friday night, 9pm UK time, and then a Sunday hockey breakfast at 9am on Sunday morning UK time. Yes, plenty going on, and I can't even remember when the next international football game is. I don't know if they're over or not, but we should have Premier League action back this weekend, so that's something potentially to look forward to, depending on which team you support. But we always have hockey to look forward to at this time of the year, and I am loving it. So thank you for watching the Wednesday wrap-up this week. If you have any comments, put them in the comments on YouTube, and I shall get back to you. But otherwise, I shall see you on Friday evening for Well Oiled, and then Sunday morning for the Sunday hockey breakfast. Until then, I am Matt Smith. This is Daft as Puck. Don't forget to follow at Daft as Puck on Twitter, and take a look at the website daftaspuck.uk. See you soon. Thanks for watching.